Your kindness is killing you. That smile you wear like armor, that endless availability you offer as if your time were disposable, that inability to say no even when everything inside you screams against it. It's not making you a better person. It's slowly hollowing you out, leaving behind only a shadow of who you were meant to be. Every single time you whisper yes while your soul is begging for a no, you are cutting away at yourself. It is not an act of compassion. It is not humility. It is a slow form of suicide. You are sacrificing your future on the altar of temporary approval. You are trading your destiny for nothing more than fleeting acceptance. The truth is brutal, but undeniable. The graveyards of this world are full of people who were too polite to protect their purpose. Men and women who had brilliance but lacked boundaries. People who could have shaped the future but chose instead to keep everyone else comfortable, too nice to nurture their gifts, too afraid of disapproval to disappoint others, and so they buried their calling under the weight of obligations that were never theirs to carry. Right now, even in this very moment, you are losing something. It's not abstract, it's not tomorrow's problem. You are losing it now. Every minute you spend bending to demands that don't align with your purpose is a minute that is gone forever. Every time you smile and nod and agree to what drains you, a piece of your potential bleeds away. Your energy seeps out in small, invisible drops until you wake up exhausted, frustrated, and wondering why your own life feels like it belongs to everyone but you. I need you to hear me. This is not just about being too nice. It is about being distracted from your assignment. It is about abandoning the unique reason you were placed here, exchanging it for shallow approval that never lasts. Some of you are so addicted to being liked that you have forgotten how to be true. You are working overtime for applause that fades as soon as you leave the room. You are pouring yourself out for people who might not even notice when you collapse. Think about it. How many of your days are truly yours? How much of your schedule belongs to what you were born to do versus what everyone else expects of you? You wake up and immediately step into a race that isn't yours, carrying burdens that don't belong to you, solving problems you didn't create, filling gaps others were too lazy to handle themselves. And every time you agree, you dig yourself deeper into a life that isn't really yours. Let me confess something to you. Years ago, I lived this way. I believed kindness meant availability, that being good meant being endlessly accessible. I thought being liked was the same thing as being valuable, and so I said yes again and again and again. The result, I worked on projects that weren't mine. I gave hours to people who never gave a moment back. My calendar was littered with meetings that had nothing to do with my purpose. My desk was piled high with the priorities of others, while my own dreams collected dust in a forgotten notebook shoved in the corner. One night I remember looking up at the clock. It was 2:00 a.m. I had been in the office for 18 hours straight, 18 hours working on a presentation that wasn't even mine, finishing what someone else had abandoned. My phone buzzed non-stop, more requests, more demands, more favors, and of course I had agreed to them all. And in that moment something hit me harder than exhaustion. I realized I wasn't being kind, I wasn't being generous, I was being foolish. I was sacrificing my purpose on the altar of popularity. And if you're honest, many of you are living the exact same story right now. You are saying yes when you should say no. You are giving away the only resource you can never recover, your time. And the people you are giving it to, many of them don't even value it. They don't realize the cost. They don't notice what you are losing. And worst of all, you are starting to forget too. That is the danger of being too friendly. It doesn't just exhaust your energy, it reshapes your identity. You begin to believe that your worth is measured by how much you can give away, how often you are available, how much you sacrifice. You start to confuse exhaustion with kindness. You start to think depletion is the same as love, but it isn't. It never was. So today, I want to talk to you about something that might sound harsh, even strange at first. Stop being too friendly. Stop giving your best to people who only value your compliance. Stop smiling your way into slavery. I am not telling you to be cruel. I am not saying to stop caring about people. I am telling you that if you continue down this path, if you keep pleasing everyone else while betraying yourself, you will wake up one day to find that your purpose is gone and it will not come back. This is the first truth we must confront. Every yes to the wrong thing is a no to the right thing. Every time you give away your time without discernment, you are rejecting your own destiny. And make no mistake, destiny does not wait. Here's the part most people don't want to admit. The habit of being overly friendly, of always saying yes, is not about kindness. It's about fear. Deep down, you are afraid of what will happen if you disappoint someone. You're afraid of being disliked, of being judged, of being left out. So you bend, you yield, you overextend, because rejection feels more terrifying than exhaustion. But let me tell you something you need to engrave in your mind. The approval of others is not oxygen. You do not need it to breathe. You can survive without their applause, but you cannot survive if you keep suffocating your own soul. Think carefully. Why do you smile when you don't want to? Why do you answer messages at midnight? Why do you accept invitations you resent? Because you've been taught that your value lies in being agreeable. From childhood, you were rewarded when you complied, when you made others comfortable, when you didn't make a fuss. And now as an adult, you carry that conditioning into every area of your life. But what once made you the good child has now become the very chain that keeps you stuck in mediocrity. The greatest tragedy is not that people ask too much of you. The greatest tragedy is that you have forgotten how to protect yourself. You have forgotten how to say no. You have confused boundaries with selfishness, when in reality, boundaries are what allow true love to exist. Without boundaries, there is only resentment disguised as kindness, and resentment will eat you alive in silence until one day you erupt in anger or collapse in despair. Let me tell you what really happens when you live to please. You create a distorted version of yourself, a mask. People don't even see the real you anymore. They see the agreeable version you present to them, the one who never complains, never declines, never disagrees. And here's the danger. Once they get used to that version, they will expect it forever. The moment you try to step back to assert yourself, they will accuse you of changing, of being different, of no longer being the person they thought you were. But the truth is, you are not changing. You are finally showing them who you really are. And yet, because you've invested so long in maintaining this mask, you hesitate. You keep saying yes. You keep carrying weights that are not yours. You let yourself be drained day after day, and in doing so, you rob the world of the authentic gift you were meant to bring. The world doesn't need another copy of compliance. The world needs your authenticity, your voice, your calling. But as long as you drown yourself in endless yeses, no one, including you, will ever experience it. I want you to see the hidden cost. It's not just your energy. It's not just your time, it's your very identity. Every unnecessary yes rewrites your story in someone else's handwriting. Every false smile edits your life into a script you were never supposed to act out. That is why so many people wake up at 40, 50, even 60 years old and realize they don't recognize their own lives. They spent decades running errands in other people's destinies, never stepping into their own. I'll put it plainly, when you live to please everyone, you die unknown even to yourself. And here is the cruel irony. No matter how much you give, it will never be enough. Some people will always want more. They will take your yes today and demand another tomorrow. They will accept your sacrifice as normal, your exhaustion as expected. And if you collapse under the weight of it all, do you know what they'll do? They'll simply move on to the next person, willing to carry their load. You'll be forgotten, replaced, discarded. All that smiling, all that effort, all that sacrifice. And for what? You need to let this sink in. Your constant yes is not making people love you, it's making them use you. So here's the shift that must happen. Stop believing that your value is measured by how much you can give away. Your value comes from who you are, not how much of yourself you destroy for others. If you continue believing the lie that you must always be agreeable, you will spend your entire life serving people who never respected you to begin with. But if you find the courage to draw boundaries, if you dare to say no, something extraordinary happens. You discover who truly values you for you, not for what you can provide. Listen to me. Respect is not earned by endless compliance. Respect is earned when you protect your dignity. Respect is earned when you show others that your time, your energy, your life is not cheap. And yes, some people will leave when you do this. Let them. If your refusal to be a doormat drives them away, they were never meant to stay in the first place. Because the truth is, the people who are meant to walk with you will not be offended by your boundaries. They will honor them. They will celebrate them. They will even help you protect them. And when that shift happens, your yes will finally carry weight because it will be rooted in choice, not fear. This is where transformation begins. This is where you stop being consumed by the pressure to please and start living from the freedom of purpose. Here is the turning point you've been waiting for. After years of drowning in other people's expectations, after decades of being the nice one, the people pleaser, the reliable rescuer, it is time to reclaim the most powerful word in your vocabulary, no. Simple, short, sharp, just 2 letters that can save your life. But let me tell you why so many people struggle to use it. They think no is rejection. They think no is cruelty. They think no means shutting the door on love. But in truth, no is the highest expression of self-respect. And without self-respect, you can never love anyone else honestly. Saying no is not selfishness, it is stewardship. It is acknowledging that your time, your energy, your emotions are limited and therefore must be guarded with intention. Imagine a garden with no fence. Every passerby can trample it, steal its fruit, destroy its soil. That is what your life looks like without boundaries. But when you plant a fence, when you decide what enters and what stays out, your garden flourishes. The flowers bloom brighter, the fruit grows richer, and those who enter are blessed by its beauty. Boundaries do not restrict love, they protect it. Think about it. If you say yes when you mean no, what happens to your heart? It fills with bitterness. You smile on the outside but bleed on the inside. You perform kindness while secretly resenting the very people you serve. That is not love, that is deception. And deception poisons relationships. But when you say no with clarity, when you set a boundary with honesty, you are giving the other person a chance to encounter the real you, not the masked version. And that authenticity, even if it hurts at first, builds deeper respect than false compliance ever could. Let me challenge you. When was the last time you said no without apologizing for it? Most of us add excuses, explanations, long justifications. We say, I'm sorry, I would love to, but I'm busy, as though protecting our own soul requires a courtroom defense. Stop apologizing for having limits. Your no does not need a 5-paragraph essay attached to it. Your no is valid simply because it comes from you. And if someone cannot respect your no, they do not deserve your yes. This is the foundation of true freedom, learning that you are not responsible for carrying every burden, fixing every problem, or making everyone happy. That was never your assignment. Your assignment is to steward your life, to protect your purpose, to channel your energy where it matters most. And sometimes that means disappointing people. Sometimes that means being misunderstood. Sometimes that means walking away. But hear me clearly, the temporary discomfort of someone else's disappointment is nothing compared to the lifelong prison of betraying yourself. I know it feels scary. I know the thought of letting people down tightens your chest, but you must realize that every yes you give takes a piece of your life, and life is not infinite. Every unnecessary yes is time you'll never get back, energy you'll never recover, opportunities you'll never see again. You cannot afford to waste your one and only life trying to be everything for everyone. You were not created for that. You were created for purpose. And purpose requires focus. Purpose requires courage. Purpose requires... Now here is the beauty of it. Once you begin to practice boundaries, once you dare to say no, you will discover a new kind of peace. The exhaustion that once felt normal will begin to lift. The bitterness that used to eat at you will dissolve. The people who truly care about you will stay. The ones who only used you will leave. And for the first time, your relationships will be built on honesty, not pretense. You will stop attracting leeches and start attracting partners. You will stop being drained and start being nourished. You will stop living as a copy of everyone else's expectations and finally become the original God designed you to be. So today I invite you to take this bold step. Choose one area of your life where you have been overcommitted, overextended, overused, and practice. Say no, out loud, with no guilt attached. Feel the fear, yes, but do it anyway. Because every no you speak from a place of truth is really a yes to your destiny. Every boundary you set is an open door to purpose. Every refusal to be used is an invitation to be free. Once you begin to say no, something extraordinary happens. Space opens up in your life. Silence returns where noise once ruled. Energy begins to flow back into your body. Your mind feels lighter. And suddenly you are able to ask a question you were too exhausted to consider before. What was I born for? This is the question of purpose, the question that changes everything. Because until you know your why, every yes and every no is random. But once you discover your why, your yes becomes powerful and your no becomes effortless. Purpose is the organizing principle of life. Without purpose, you waste your days reacting to demands, running in circles, exhausting yourself on meaningless activity. But with purpose, you gain clarity. Decisions that once tortured you become simple because you no longer measure them against people's approval, but against your mission. If it aligns with your purpose, it is a yes. If it distracts from your purpose, it is a no. Purpose simplifies life. Purpose gives you focus. Purpose delivers peace. And here is a revelation many people miss. Purpose attracts provision. When you live with clarity, when you align your actions with the reason you exist, doors begin to open. People who never noticed you before suddenly respect you. Resources you could never chase down on your own begin to chase you. Opportunities that seemed impossible appear at the right time. Why? Because purpose commands attention. Purpose is magnetic. The world makes room for a man or woman who knows where they are going. Think about leaders, artists, innovators, teachers, the ones we admire most. They are not necessarily the most talented or the most educated. They are simply the most focused. They discovered what they were born to do, and they refused to dilute it with distraction. And because they guarded their yes and protected their no, the world eventually recognized their authenticity and rewarded it. Respect follows purpose. Influence follows purpose. Prosperity follows purpose. But let me warn you, discovering purpose is not always comfortable. It requires stripping away false identities, roles you have played just to please others, masks you have worn to fit in. It requires you to ask hard questions. Who am I when no one is watching? What do I feel called to create, to heal, to build, to teach, to serve? What breaks my heart so deeply that I cannot ignore it? What excites me so much that I lose track of time when I do it? These are the signposts of purpose, and they are waiting for you in the quiet space that only boundaries can create. Once you touch your purpose, life will never feel the same. Mundane tasks will still exist, but they will no longer define you. Distractions will still call your name, but they will no longer control you, because inside you there will be a fire, and that fire will demand expression. Purpose gives birth to discipline, and discipline gives birth to greatness. The moment you know your why, you stop wasting energy on what doesn't matter, and you invest it all in what does. And here is the best part. Your purpose is not just about you. It is about impact. It is about leaving a mark that outlives you. It is about changing the atmosphere wherever you go. When you live in alignment with your why, you not only prosper personally, but you also elevate everyone connected to you. Your family feels it, your friends feel it, your workplace feels it, your community feels it. Purpose multiplies. Purpose lifts others as it lifts you. So let me ask you today, will you dare to discover why you are here? Will you dare to step out of the prison of people-pleasing and into the adventure of destiny? Will you dare to say no to the noise so you can say yes to the voice within you? Because the world is waiting, the opportunities are waiting, the resources are waiting. Respect, influence, prosperity, all of it is waiting on the other side of your obedience to purpose. Once you discover your purpose, the journey is only beginning. Finding it is powerful, yes. But keeping it, protecting it, that is where the real battle lies. Because the moment you begin to align with destiny, resistance will rise, distractions will multiply, critics will appear, even your own doubts will whisper in the night, asking, are you sure this is who you are? Are you sure this is what you're called to do? And if you are not prepared, those voices will pull you back into the old patterns of people-pleasing and self-betrayal. Purpose is like a flame. When it first ignites, it is small, fragile, easily extinguished. If you expose it to too much wind, it dies. But if you shelter it, feed it, protect it, that flame grows into a fire that nothing can put out. This is why you must be ruthless with distractions. Not everything good is right for you. Not every opportunity is your assignment. Some doors must remain closed, not because they are bad, but because they are not aligned. Protecting purpose means having the discipline to say, that may be great for someone else, but it is not for me. And then there are the critics, people who cannot understand your choices, people who feel threatened by your growth, people who mock what they cannot explain. You must expect them. Do not let their voices surprise you. Purpose exposes insecurity in others, and insecure people will always try to drag you back into the box they are stuck in. But listen carefully. Your purpose was not given to them, it was given to you. They do not have to approve it, they do not have to understand it, and they certainly do not have the authority to cancel it. Protecting your purpose means choosing not to be ruled by their opinions. The hardest battle, however, is not with distractions or critics. It is with yourself, because even as you step into clarity, a part of you still craves the comfort of the old life. A part of you still wants to be liked, to be accepted, to avoid conflict. And purpose will challenge that part of you every single day. You will feel the tension between who you were and who you are becoming. And in that tension, you must choose. Will you betray yourself again for temporary approval, or will you stand firm and walk into destiny? Let me be honest. Protecting purpose will cost you. It may cost you relationships. It may cost you opportunities. It may cost you the applause of people who once celebrated you. But what you gain will always be greater. You will gain integrity. You will gain clarity. You will gain the respect of those who truly matter. And most importantly, you will gain the peace of knowing that your life is aligned with the reason you were created. This is why you must surround yourself with people who understand purpose, people who fan the flame instead of trying to extinguish it, people who remind you who you are when you forget, people who will not let you settle for less than the greatness inside you. Protecting purpose is not a solo journey. You need allies, mentors, friends who walk with you in the same direction, but you must choose them wisely, because the wrong company can destroy what you have worked so hard to build. And above all, remember this: protecting your purpose is not a one-time decision. It is a daily discipline. Every morning you wake up, you must decide again to guard the flame, to silence the critics, to reject the distractions, to believe in the call. Purpose is not maintained by emotion. It is maintained by conviction. And the more you protect it, the stronger it grows, until one day you realize the flame that was once fragile has become a fire no storm can quench. So ask yourself, what fences do I need to build around my life to protect my purpose? What distractions must I release? Whose voices must I silence? What habits must I strengthen? Because your destiny depends on your ability to guard the treasure within you. Do not let the noise of the world drown out the voice of purpose. Protect it fiercely, and it will guide you faithfully into the future you were designed to live. Leadership is not about a position, a title, or authority written on paper. Leadership is about influence, about the ability to inspire and move people toward a vision. And here is the truth. When you protect your purpose, leadership begins to emerge naturally. People are drawn to clarity. They are drawn to conviction. They are drawn to someone who knows exactly why they are alive and is willing to live it out without compromise. Leadership then is not first about leading others. It is about leading yourself with integrity. Think about it. People do not follow uncertainty for long. They may be impressed for a moment, they may be entertained for a season, but what they truly crave is direction, and only someone who is deeply rooted in purpose can provide that direction. Leadership at its core is alignment, your values, your vision, and your actions all moving in the same direction. When people see that consistency in you, when they notice that your words match your behavior, that your decisions are not swayed by the crowd, they begin to trust you. And trust is the currency of leadership. But authentic leadership requires courage. It means making choices that may be unpopular but necessary. It means saying no when everyone expects a yes. It means holding the line when others are tempted to compromise. Leadership is not about comfort. It is about responsibility. And that responsibility weighs heavily, because as a leader, your choices do not affect only you. They affect everyone who follows you. If you are careless with your purpose, if you drift, if you fall, others will be pulled down with you. This is why protecting your purpose is not just personal. It is an act of stewardship for the lives connected to you. True leaders do not seek followers for the sake of validation. They carry vision, and vision attracts people who resonate with it. The power of leadership is that it multiplies purpose. Your clarity creates clarity in others. Your courage awakens courage in them. Your integrity raises the standard for everyone around you. You don't even have to demand loyalty. It grows naturally because people sense that your leadership is not about ego, but about service. That is the paradox. The greatest leaders are servants of their vision and of the people who share it. And here is the most important thing. Authentic leadership cannot be faked. You can wear the mask of authority. You can use manipulation or force, but those things do not last. Eventually the cracks show. But when leadership flows from purpose, it carries a weight, an authority that no title can give and no critic can take away. It is the authority of authenticity, and authenticity is magnetic. People are starving for it in a world full of pretense. So leadership is not reserved for a select few. It is the natural outflow of living your purpose. You may not think of yourself as a leader, but the moment you take responsibility for your life, the moment you begin to align your actions with your vision, you are leading. Someone is watching you. Someone is being shaped by your choices. And the question is not whether you are a leader, but what kind of leader you are becoming. This is why purpose matters so much. Without it, leadership becomes blind. You may have influence, but no direction. You may have followers, but no destiny. And as the saying goes, if the blind lead the blind, both fall into the ditch. But with purpose, leadership becomes powerful, transformative, unstoppable. It turns ordinary people into visionaries, hesitant voices into bold ones, and scattered groups into movements that can reshape nations. So remember this: you were born to lead, not because of your strength, intelligence, or status, but because of the fire of purpose inside you. When you live it, when you guard it, when you embody it, you become a leader, and that kind of leadership cannot be denied. When you think about leadership in the animal kingdom, one creature stands out above the rest: the lion. The lion is not the biggest animal. That title belongs to the elephant. The lion is not the tallest. That would be the giraffe. The lion is not the strongest. That is the ox. The lion is not even the fastest. That is the cheetah. And yet in the minds of all creatures, the lion is king. Why? Because leadership is not about size or strength or speed. Leadership is about attitude. The lion carries himself with a mindset that sets him apart, and that mindset turns weakness into strength. When a lion sees an elephant, the lion does not think about the size of the elephant. He does not see a giant that could crush him. He sees lunch. He sees an opportunity. He sees provision. The elephant, on the other hand, when it sees a lion, does not see a small creature that can be easily defeated. It sees danger. It sees a predator. It sees a king. What does this teach us? That leadership is not a matter of appearance, it is a matter of perspective. The way you see yourself shapes the way the world responds to you. The lion is bold. The lion is confident. The lion has an unshakable sense of identity. He does not walk through the jungle apologizing for who he is. He does not compare himself to the leopard, the buffalo, or the hyena. He does not need to explain his authority. He simply lives it. And this is the essence of authentic leadership. When you know who you are and why you are here, you don't need to prove it. You just need to live it. Purpose gives you that clarity, and clarity gives you courage. Too often people believe that leadership belongs to those with certain qualifications, certain positions, or certain gifts, but the lion teaches us otherwise. Leadership is not about what you have, it's about what you believe. The lion believes he is king, and so he acts like it. And because he acts like it, the entire jungle responds to him accordingly. This is the secret of influence. The world treats you the way you treat yourself. If you walk in fear, people sense it. If you walk in doubt, they feel it. But if you walk with conviction, with authority, with faith in your purpose, others will follow. This is why leadership cannot be faked. It has to come from the inside out. A lion cannot pretend to be king. It simply is. In the same way, you cannot pretend to be a leader. Your life must reflect it. Your words, your decisions, your actions, all must align with your purpose. And when they do, leadership emerges naturally, just like the roar of a lion announces his presence without explanation. The lion also teaches us about responsibility. To be king is not just to have privilege, it is to carry weight. The lion must protect, provide, and preserve his pride. Leadership, likewise, is not about domination, but about service. It is about protecting those entrusted to you, providing direction and vision, and preserving the values that sustain your community. A true leader does not exploit people. A true leader empowers them. That is why purpose-driven leadership lasts, while selfish leadership collapses. Here is the challenge. You must begin to see yourself as God sees you. You are not weak. You are not insignificant. You are not defined by your environment, your failures, or your past. You are defined by the purpose placed inside you. And once you embrace that identity, once you take hold of that lion mindset, everything changes. Obstacles shrink, opportunities expand, and people begin to recognize your leadership, not because you forced it, but because you lived it. So the lesson of the lion is this: attitude is everything. Leadership does not begin with power, it begins with perception. If you want to lead, stop looking at what you lack and start seeing what you already carry. The spirit of leadership is within you, waiting to be released through your purpose. And when it is released, you too will walk with the authority of a lion, bold, fearless, and unstoppable. We have reached the final part of this journey, and now everything comes together. The principles of purpose, the power of vision, the attitude of leadership, and the responsibility of stewardship. These are not just ideas for inspiration, they are keys for transformation. When you understand them and live by them, your life will never be the same again. Let's return to where we started. The purpose of the kingdom: for resources, for wealth, and for leadership. Everything begins with God's original design. He created the earth, He filled it with abundance, and He entrusted it to humanity, not to exploit, not to hoard, but to manage and expand His kingdom influence on earth. That has never changed. The assignment remains the same today: to reflect heaven on earth. That is your calling, your responsibility, and your destiny. We learned that wealth in the kingdom is not ownership, but stewardship. The king owns everything. the land, the water, the air, the resources, even our very lives. Our role is to manage wisely what He places in our hands. And the measure of our success is not how much we accumulate, but how faithfully we serve His purposes with what we are given. The parable of the talents makes this crystal clear. Well done, good and faithful servant, is the highest reward you can receive, not because you became rich, but because you became responsible. We also saw that leadership is not about position, title, or appearance. It is about mindset. The lion is king, not because of size or strength, but because of courage and conviction. Likewise, you step into leadership the moment you see yourself the way God sees you, strong, capable, chosen, and filled with purpose. Once you adopt that identity, you begin to walk in authority, and others respond to it naturally. Purpose is the thread that ties everything together. It gives meaning to your life, direction to your vision, and power to your leadership. Without purpose, wealth becomes greed, vision becomes fantasy, and leadership becomes tyranny. But with purpose, everything aligns. Money becomes a tool, vision becomes strategy, and leadership becomes service. That is the kingdom way. So how do you live this out? First, by renewing your mind. You must let go of the cultural lies that say you own what you have, that your value comes from your possessions, or that your identity depends on your achievements. Replace them with the truth. Everything belongs to God, your worth comes from your Creator, and your identity is rooted in your purpose. Second, by practicing stewardship. Every resource you touch is a test. Your money, your time, your relationships, your talents, all of them are opportunities to prove your faithfulness. Don't waste them. Don't bury them. Multiply them. Let them serve God's vision through your life. Remember, if He can get it through you, He will get it to you. Third, by embracing responsibility. Leadership is not optional. Whether you realize it or not, someone is watching you. Someone is following you. Your children, your family, your co-workers, your community, they are looking for guidance, and you are called to provide it. Not through control, but through example. Not through fear, but through faith. Not through domination, but through love. Finally, by walking boldly in your assignment. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop comparing yourself to others. Stop doubting your ability. If God gave you life, He gave you purpose. And if He gave you purpose, He also gave you everything you need to fulfill it. Your job is not to figure out every detail. Your job is to be faithful with what is in your hands today. As you do, more will be entrusted to you tomorrow. So let us close with this declaration. Lord, I recognize that you are King and owner of everything. I am your steward, your servant, and your child. Everything I have belongs to you, and everything I am exists for your purpose. Teach me to manage resources with wisdom, to lead with courage, and to live with vision. May my life reflect the culture of heaven on earth. I receive this kingdom mindset today in the name of Jesus. Amen. If you live this way, you will never chase money again. Money will chase you. You will never fear lack again. Abundance will flow through you. You will never feel lost again. Purpose will guide you. And when your journey on this earth is done, you will hear the words that every servant longs to hear. Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of your Lord. This is the ultimate goal of life in the kingdom. Not to gather things, not to build your own empire, but to fulfill the purpose for which you were created. And when you do, you will leave behind more than possessions. You will leave a legacy that echoes in eternity.